Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary peoples. This is Bronson's By Any Means Necessary fantasy basketball talk for Monday, October 31st, 2022. Happy Halloween to you. I had a great time in Minnesota. Fantastic time watching my Vikings play at home in Minnesota. Fantastic. I'm going to make it. Minneapolis is definitely probably top 3 of my favorite places. I'm definitely going to have to start going there more regularly because at least once a year to watch the Vikings. And then, it'd be nice to go, in the summertime when the weather's a little nicer, though it was actually a beautiful weekend there. But as soon as I got home, real world problems started again. It was raining. Weather was disgusting. My car was having problems. It's been overheating a little bit lately, just a little bit though, not that much, because I watch it like a hawk now because of what happened to my last car. So when it's getting a little high, I check the fluids, and the last couple times has been low on water or coolant because it's going through that stuff. Because it's got a leak, so it's going through it a little faster than I've been anticipating it going through. So that's been the problem. But today, it had all its fluids, and it was overheating really bad. It was running real hot, and I had to stop a couple of times because I drove back from Seattle. So for the first time, I made it from Tequila to Lacey, and then I added oil because it was a little low. So I added a quart, and then that was fine. The fluids were fine, and then it was running great for most of the way back until I got to about Ridgefield, which is like 15 miles from my house. And so I stopped at the rest area, sat there for a good 45 minutes, maybe an hour, because it was running really hot again. And, used the bathroom, called some people, did some things, and thought that'd be okay. But I made it like a mile down the road, and it was already running hot again. I was like, great. So I pulled over on the shoulder, sat on the side of the freeway for a good 2 hours. Ended up having to get towed because I didn't trust my car to get back here, because I wasn't gonna sit there for an hour and then drive a mile, sit there for another hour, drive a mile. I wasn't gonna do that tonight. So I called the tow truck. Luckily, because of my Uber status, I'm Uber Diamond. It was free. So Uber will cover it. Uber will cover up to 4 events per year. So it's kind of like having AAA that I don't have to pay for. So that was nice. The only problem was the location was a little difficult for the driver to find because I wasn't at a precise location. And I was next to this road, this little road that was parallel to the I-5 southbound. And so Uber thought I was there. But I was like just sitting on the side of the freeway between the Battleground exit and Clark County Fairgrounds. So I didn't really have a precise location. So I was sitting there with my hazards on for a good hour and a half, waiting for this driver to show up. Kept getting time estimates of 15 minutes, like 3 times. And I was like, what is going on? So I finally called the place, and he asked me to send him the pin of my location pin. And then that got the ball rolling, because apparently they couldn't find me. But yeah, so a couple of different people have said they think it's the thermostat on my car. The thermostat's off, so I'm gonna have to get my car looked at. I just don't know. I'm hoping that if I let it sit for the night, it'll be good to go in the morning, and I'll be able to take it a short distance and get it looked at. But it's really stressing out because my car is my job. Like I can't deliver food if I can't drive, and then it's gonna be difficult to get back and forth to work at UPS as well if I can't drive, because I don't have any money on my UPS in my UPS account. I don't have any money on my cards until tomorrow. I get paid from Uber, but that card has never really worked for Lyft to get a ride, and I don't really want to spend it anyways. It's the same thing happened to me last winter. I was so pissed because we're coming into peak time again, and there's so much money to be made at peak. I ended up even because of how much money I was having to spend on Lyft and Uber to get me to work every morning. So, I wasn't making any money, and I was really looking forward to finally making some real money for Peak this year. And I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I got to get my car looked at tomorrow, and hopefully it's just a thermostat. I know that I do need to replace the radiator. That probably put that off too long. So I'm gonna be doing that soon. I was already planning on doing that. I was already planning on putting money into my car this next month. That's why I wasn't gonna go on any trips. So I want to get the alignment and I want to get the radiator replaced. But now it looks like I might have to do thermostat. Just putting way more money into this car than I paid for it. And it's been pretty reliable up till today. Well, yeah. So that's what's going on. Happy Halloween to me. I'm not wearing a costume this year. I remember I did wear a costume last year, but on my videos, but I just didn't care. Just don't care today. I'm not in the right headspace, but I did wanted to get a quick waiver video out for you basketball players. I got 10 guys. Didn't go into a deep dive. I just really spent about 5 minutes on it. So forgive me if I'm forgetting some names. We'll get to them next week. I'm sure they're not going to change all that much in the meantime. So here's my 10 list. No particular order. No breakdown by position. I got Jalen Williams, the rookie guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I know that the Oklahoma City Thunder have two Jalen Williams. One's a guard, one's a center. The guard is the one you want. He's been outstanding to start this year, despite the injury, but he is back from his injury. And then we'll do Trey Mann, the other young Oklahoma City backup guard. He's hitting a lot of threes. He's been scoring a lot of points. While Shea and Jalen Williams have been out. I'm sure he's still going to have a pretty decent role now that both of those guys are healthy. And who knows how long SGA will be healthy. Anyway, the guy is kind of frail. Next, we'll do Mason Plumlee, center for the Bobcats. I know he doesn't provide a whole lot. Really, in points leagues, he's probably not going to be super helpful, but in categories leagues, he can be helpful because he provides a lot. He provides a little in a lot of categories: assists, rebounds, points, blocks, steals. He pretty much does it all in small quantities. And so he's a good cheap option to have. And Jock Landale looks like he's going to be a real big add for the next week while DeAndre Ayton is out, because he's going to absorb most of those minutes because he's just a better player than Bismack Biyombo, who also, I guess you could put Bismack Biyombo on this list. Both backup Phoenix centers can be on this list, though Jock Landale, to me, is the only appealing one. Eric Gordon, still in Houston and still getting minutes. I don't know why he's still there, why he hasn't been traded. Maybe they're showcasing him, but showcasing him is good in fantasy because he's going to get heavy minutes. He's producing with those minutes, and he's also small forward eligible now instead of just shooting guard, so that's helpful. Rui Hachimura of the Wizards. He's a player I really liked coming out of college, really loved in college at Gonzaga. I really thought he'd be a really great pro, and he hasn't really been a great pro. He's decent, but never really been a super good fantasy option, but he's an okay fantasy option for you now, because I know if you're like me, you're dealing with a lot of freaking injuries already. Dean Wade, he's a guy. I remember in college, I thought he was a good college player, but I was like, there's no way the guy will ever sniff the NBA. I was wrong. He's not only in the NBA, but he's like a starter for the loaded Cavaliers right now, which is insane to me. And he's producing really, really well with starters minutes. So he belongs on your team. Isaiah Stewart, really coming on over the last few days, last few games. He's going to provide a lot in rebounds, blocks, steals, points. Not so much in assists and not so much shooting. The guy can't shoot at all. But he's a dog out there. He goes out there and works. He goes out there and produces with the minutes that he gets. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, kind of fantasy relevant again for the Jazz. Now that the Jazz are, supposedly in a rebuild, even though they're off to a good start. He also can provide you shooting guard and small forward eligibility. So he's got guard and forward. He could fill both guard and forward roles for you. And then lastly, Royce O'Neal, a guy who's kind of been on the fringes of fantasy relevance in Utah. Not really in points league, but in categories leagues. Now he's playing really, really, really well for the Nets. He's probably been the Nets' second best player this year behind Durant. So far, which is saying a lot because they do have Kyrie Irving and a shell of what Ben Simmons used to be. So yeah, he's been one of the more pleasant surprises of the early fantasy basketball season, and he should be probably owned in a lot more leagues than he is. I've been picking up Royce O'Neal in some leagues. Jalen Williams in a lot of leagues, Mason Plumlee in some leagues, Eric Gordon, Trey Mann. So half this list, guys, I've been picking up in my points leagues and category leagues. So they are Bronson approved. All right, I'm gonna end this. I'm cooking some dinner, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do because I can't. Don't have money to get an Uber or Lyft to work in the morning, so I'm probably just gonna stay up all night and then walk over there and hope it doesn't pour down rain at 1 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning or so. I've gotten pretty used to staying up that late anyways. I'm usually still working Uber until about midnight, and then in Minnesota, being 2 hours ahead, it was like I was going to bed at like 2 a.m. 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. So it's like, yeah, it was really weird yesterday when I was trying to watch the football game, and it was like 6:45 or something, and I wasn't trying to watch it, but I was out doing things. And I was like, oh yeah, shoot, this Monday night, there's a Sunday night football game on. I want to watch the Packers-Bills, right? So I was out doing things. It was like 6:45. Checked the score on my phone. I was like, it's got to be like halftime now, right? And checked the score on my phone. And I was like, the game hadn't even started yet. I was like, what is going on here? And then I remembered, oh yeah, here in Central Time, it doesn't start till 7:20 p.m., not 5:20 p.m. So the game hadn't even started, so I was able to go kind of do what I was doing and then get back to my hotel in time to catch the second half, which really wasn't that exciting of a game. Didn't miss much. But yeah, I wish I would have just stayed there longer. No, I couldn't afford it. It would have been nice. That shadow tripped me out. I thought someone was at my door, but it's just me. All right. When I got home, there was a bunch of shit on the porch too. I don't know. There's a bouquet of roses. I have no idea who they're for. And then someone left their ice cream and shit just sitting there. And then my roommate, who has an online shopping addiction, always has packages out there that just sit there until I bring them inside. So it's crazy. I'm just curious who these roses are for and what the ice cream is just doing sitting here. Like, it's probably got to be melted. Like, ice cream and coffee creamer. Like, what the hell? What the hell happens in this place when I'm not here? But all right. Peace, love, and nacho fries. Hopefully tomorrow I get some good news, and tomorrow is a better day for me. But November's not off to a great start now, is it? Even though it's not technically November yet, tomorrow will be. So pray for me. Good night.